they're only reptiles. They don't matter. When one dies, you just buy another one. You can just buy more and more racks and just keep filling them up. Just fill them up with every morph of ball python or hognose that you can imagine. Well, no, not to us, actually. They're our family. They're our pets. We love them and we take care of them and we give them the best lives we could. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely devastating for me personally. We've lost Muggins, my Maine Coon cat, and that was heartbreaking for me and my husband. It's been horrible. But I also, shortly before that, I'd inherited from somebody a frilled dragon who came with numerous health problems, including severe dehydration and things that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't fix. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to see him through that. But people knew what to say with the cat. People knew what to say because it was a cat. They saw it as a pet. People didn't expect me to have an emotional or grief-filled reaction to a reptile. It's only a lizard. What's it matter? You'll get another one. Well, no, that's not how this works. For us, and I hope for you, if you're watching this, they mean a lot to us and they are something important that can't just be replaced. So you are allowed to have that grief. You are allowed to be sad when something sad happens. It doesn't matter whether it's a dog, whether it's a cat, whether it's a reptile, whether it's a fish. And even the tone of my voice then when I described fish, like I was saying, they are less important. It's not something that people are guilty of. It's something that people don't understand. I demonstrated it myself and the guilt just poured out on me when I thought, what about people who are genuinely attached to their fish? And I said it in a tone that's almost dismissive, in the same way that devastated me when people were like, oh, your lizard died. That's sad. Get another one. Yeah. And to be fair, I have got another one, but I don't know if I could handle just replacing. I got another one because I felt like I wanted to. It's not a replacement. It's something else that you're giving your love to. The tone and reason for wanting to take on another one is very, very different. So we're going to talk about loss and we're going to talk about grief and why you are allowed to feel that pain that we have both been through.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, sorry to interject. I was just about to say, I think that's one thing that I really, really appreciate about the reptile community is just how supportive they are when something as horrible as the loss of a pet happens. And where I think the majority of the public just, like you say, wouldn't understand. It's just a snake, it's just a lizard, it's just a fish. The reptile community feel it. They really, really feel it.
So even hobbyists, even people who are different to us, I know me and you have more of a pet owner relationship with our reptiles.
I wouldn't call us collectors or curators or keepers. They're our gang, they're our family. Yeah.
And that's a big difference. But I know even hobbyists who do see them more as a hobby, a collection, very well looked after collection, but they are there is a disconnect. Even them, I've known them to be devastated. I have known grown men weep over a lizard or a snake, and it just shows you the bond that you can have with them. So while in a future video we're going to look at the bond that the reptile can have with us, for now I really want to talk about the bond that we can have with them. And for this, rather than get maudling and sad, now we've done our introduction, I am going to grab a couple of lizards and let's give Paul, the frilled dragon, a nice send-off. Yes. And let's talk about the grief and the sadness in what became the world's longest hook.
Let's go do Paul proud.
So 2 years ago, my partner's 18-year-old husky died. Now, we'd told ourselves for months and years, because that went way over the average lifespan, we had told ourselves for months and years that we won't be sad when he dies because he's had the perfect life. He had a long life. He had an amazing life. So we will be happy that he had this amazing life. Mm-hmm. It kicked us in the guts harder than most other losses we have ever felt. 2 years later, we decided, okay, we are ready to getting a little bit broody. We're starting to think about other dogs. We'd had a Maine Coon in the meantime. I'm covered in sand from Pixie's tank. We got a Maine Coon in the meantime because it was something we wanted to. We've got a few other cats and we wanted to just have a sort of top dog to replace the dog. Didn't work that way. he was a lot softer and not capable of being top dog and in charge. He was a soft, gentle little baby, but he got on with all the other cats, and that was perfect. Sadly, he had a blood disease that is actually very, very common in male Maine Coons, and his bones, because of this, were very brittle and didn't allow blood circulation properly, and it was a heartbreaking decision to have to make. But I think after a couple of days after diagnosis, when rapidly going downhill, it became very clear that it wasn't a decision anymore. And that broke us. It was heartbreaking, and luckily my work are incredibly understanding and understood that to me this was losing a person. This was losing something personal. So we both took our time and absorbed what had happened. But for Paul, Frill Dragon, I hadn't had him very long, and I think that's another reason people were quite dismissive. But I was very proud of the work that I'd done, because he had had such a terrible start in life. I really hoped and thought, and I allowed myself to bond with him rather than stay disconnected and think he may not survive.
I mean, you two really were the dynamic duo. Yeah, there was always some sort of hijinks you was getting up to.
Yeah, so tribute to Muggins, Nico, our husky, Nala, a previous husky, and Muggins and Paul and Nancy for you.
Yes, a little tricolour hognose. It was interesting with Nancy because from very, very early on, I was worried that something was wrong with her, and I was saying to you, this doesn't feel quite right, this doesn't look quite right. And I think even when you know deep down, it doesn't stop the impact of when it happens.
No,
Nancy took her last breath in my hands, and for that split second, the world just froze. I felt like I was floating in space. It was awful, absolutely awful.
So with Paul, I didn't get that lucky or unlucky. I don't know the answer to that. I just came, I knew something was wrong the day before. I'd given every sort of attempt I could, everything that I was able to do to fix it, seek expert advice, and there was not much we could do. They just had not the best start, and the next morning, unfortunately, they had passed overnight. But we had tried everything. With Muggins, the cat, it was in the vet, very sympathetic, very amazing vets local to us, and they were fantastic. And staying in the room, and like the last breath thing, it was soul destroying to go eye level with him on the table and look into his eyes and just let him know that I was there and that I was able to support him. And that meant the world, but still haunts me. And it always will. But I think that is something that I'm keen to make this video, because you are allowed those feelings for a reptile. You are allowed to have that bond. You are allowed to grieve. And I think it's just important to acknowledge that obviously I'm going to overlay some footage of all of these guys over this and allow you to see it, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. You will never replace that individual baby. You'll never replace Nancy.
No.
Any dog that we ever got would never replace Nico, but you can give that love in a different way. You can allow yourself to give love to a different person or a different animal. That's how close we see them.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I mean, they are our people. We're not people really.
No.
So,
I'd prefer to be with the reptiles, the dogs, the cats.
Yeah.
So there is light at the end of the tunnel, and this is Pixie. She is an Aki monitor, the smallest monitor, but with very similar intelligence to the larger species, and you can see her little head working.
Yeah.
And this is Tim Tam.
This is Tim Tam.
So he is a frilled dragon and was my tribute to Paul. So I made a video to explain to our followers on TikTok why I wasn't going live that day, and it was about Paul. Some amazing people reached out to me, and I ended up with Tim Tam. And that I see as a tribute to probably one of the greatest frilled dragons there ever was in Paul Robinson. But I think Tim Tam is doing him proud.
Yes, I think he is. He He's something special, this little guy.
So
I think the
very
moment
similar
you
to
told me
Paul,
that
yeah.
you'd caught him tapping on the glass and he let you film it, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Tim Tam's rocked up and gone, hold my locust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, Paul was very camera shy. Paul was great on the camera, but if he'd knock on the glass of a morning. However, if I then got my camera out to try and film it to send to Morgan, he wasn't really interested. He'd stop, he'd just freeze. Whereas Tim Tam, he doesn't care. He's all about that camera and the knocking.
He loves being pat, doesn't he?
Yeah, one of his favourite things is the TikTok live. He's really fun
Yeah.
doing them. He loves them. So I don't think there is a message or a call to action on this, but if you want to see more of our animals and more of us sharing our experience, our knowledge, our love, and our passion for these animals, please do like and subscribe. We will always be honest with you. We will always be open. I know some people just share endless rack systems. That's not us. Good luck to them. Absolutely fine. But yeah, for us, they are family, they are pets, and they are our friends and some of the
Loved
greatest
ones,
pets
really.
you can have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that's how you feel, maybe we're the channel for you. And let us know in the comments about your favourite animal that you've lost or that you've got. Let's make it a celebration as well as a bit miserable. So let us know down below. Have you lost one? How were people with you?
Well, this is the thing. I think life's all about balance, isn't it? You know, you've
Yeah.
got to take the bad with the good to be able to really appreciate the good.
Yeah.
You know,
It's worth every second of pain to have had amazing memories and amazing time with them.
yeah. And this thing as well, I think grief is just love with nowhere to go, and we've got love in abundance for these little guys.
Yeah. So we're going to do our lot proud on the memories of the ones that we've lost and give that love to more animals, more reptiles, and make sure that they have the most perfect lives. I think there is a message sometimes. Rehomes and rescues are fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Some rescue facilities do amazing work in rehabilitating those animals and sharing them. Sometimes you see people that talk about, I'm a rescue on Pre-Loved, Pets for Homes, Craigslist, and they're not a rescue. They just want free pets.
Yeah.
They claim to be a rescue. It drives me mad. And then, especially when they then sell them on and treat them in appalling circumstances in the meantime, like they're just commodities to make a profit on. That is worse than any grief that you can feel. So the grief of losing an animal is worth it because you know that you loved them and you gave them the best life they could possibly have. To treat an animal like a commodity makes me physically sick. So, yeah. People who've made it this far in the video,
Thank
not
you.
many. Thank you very much. And yeah, we just wanted to share because he was quite a popular guy. Little update on Paul and what happened next, and why the last few weeks have been absolutely torturous.
Yeah. And this is the thing. The next video will probably be a little bit more fun, but we're here to talk about it all, even the really difficult conversations that no one really wants to have. They have to be had.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Hello. If you want to see more of these snakes and the rest of the snakes in the reptile room, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you soon.